It was like 6:30, wake up, you'd put on your uniform, you'd clean your room, somebody would stand in front and they would go to each line and they'd be like, Unit A, report. If you were late, you would get a chit, which would go to your ethics file, which they had one for everyone. One time a kid got a bucket of ice water dumped on top of his head when he was late, even though it was 6:30 in the morning.
She says 7 days a week, children as young as 6 had long days on the ranch. In addition to reading, writing, and arithmetic classes and studying Scientology, she says there were physical chores.
These projects range from rock hauling, taking rocks out of the creek, picking them up, hauling them up the hill, putting them in a pile, and these were usually to make rock walls.
As a little girl, she says she remembers weeding for hours.
And we would do this no matter how hot or how cold it was outside.
Somebody might say, you know, if you go to a strict school, a military school, there are going to be certain things that are required of you that may not be required of a kid in public school.
Except I didn't exactly sign up for a military school. I don't think my parents were trying to sign me up for a military school.
In an official response to a Radar magazine article that included Jenna's story, the church wrote, "Children were never forced to engage in manual labor. Claims to the contrary are categorically denied." About the ranch, which was closed in 1999, they said the facilities were nothing short of spectacular.
There's nothing wrong with your kid working their chores, learning the ways of the world. Rock hauling, when you're a girl who's 6 years old, does it have to be rock?
Jenna says when she was 7, she was asked to sign a billion-year contract to prove her devotion to the church.
It means that, like in Scientology, they believe that you live lifetime after lifetime.
So you've contractually committed yourself for every lifetime you have to Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
After 6 years at the ranch, at age 12, Jenna left California for a visit to the church's so-called Mecca in Clearwater, Florida. She says church elders asked her to remain there and become a full-fledged member of the Sea Org, while her parents remained in California.
I wanted to go back and see them, and I was even about to get on a plane, and I just got pulled into a room and screamed at, telling me that, you know, I'm here to be a Sea Org member.
At 12 years old, Jenna says life at Clearwater consisted of long days studying academics and Scientology and hours of administrative tasks and chores. Sometimes, Jenna says, they worked through the night.
You don't sign up for the nights where you stay up all night, sleep 2 hours, stay up all night, the next night, sleep 2 hours. I saw my mom probably a half an hour one time from when I was 12 till I was 16. I saw my dad maybe 3 times for a half an hour each time from 12 till I was 16.
In its written statement to Radar magazine concerning Jenna's account, the church said it, quote, does not comment on how parents choose to educate and raise their children. Jenna's parents declined our request for an interview. Hundreds of miles away, and unknown at the time to Jenna, another young woman was working in the Sea Org.
When I was 14, I was recruited to join this organization. They made it sound so wonderful.
Like Jenna, Astra Woodcraft was the daughter of Scientologists, and as a child went to Scientology schools. At age 15, she married a fellow Sea Org member. Her workday consisted of studying, mostly L. Ron Hubbard's teachings, and clerical duties.
I worked, 15 hours a day. We worked 7 days a week. I maybe had 2 or 3 days off a year.
Astra says disobedience wasn't tolerated in the Sea Org. She says once she refused an order from a higher-ranking Sea Org member.
And he held me up against a wall, screaming in my face.
They'll paint this extremely rosy picture, and it sort of sucks you in.
Astra's father, Lawrence Woodcraft, says the family joined the Sea Org because of his wife's passion for Scientology. He says they were often assigned to work projects that took them away from their 2 daughters.
She would happily go for a year or 2 without seeing them. I'm sure she missed them, but her total priority was Scientology. And when I'd spoken to her about it, she said, well, if I don't further the aims of Scientology, the kids don't have a future anyway. So, it was that level of fanaticism, I think, that drove her.
Astra's mother did not return Nightline's calls. Lawrence says he grew disillusioned soon after joining the Sea Org. He says he wanted out, but he says taking his children would not be easy. Jenna Miscavige Hill, a niece of David Miscavige, Scientology's leader, and Astra Woodcraft, grew up in the church. But Astra's father, Lawrence, wanted out. He says he felt that wasn't an option.
You'll be declared a suppressive person, and then you'll never speak to your family again.